devil in a black cloak, street gospel, light of the temple, sword swing, killer live from the ghetto, the hood messenger, let them know hell's close, black burial, the devil in a black cloak.
Yo, what is up? Welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast. I'm your host, Dave One, and this is episode number, hey yo Cam, what episode is this? 31. Episode number 31. I mean, come on, man. We've been putting in work. If you caught our last episode, it was episode number 30 with Pastor Kelly Lorkey. I mean, a great story of a guy that was a lost youth, punker, out on the street, all messed up, and then he becomes a pastor. I mean, you can't beat that story. So I appreciate everybody. I mean, we've had some great responses to that podcast. Everybody's been checking it out on YouTube, texting me, messaging us. Definitely. If you like that podcast or any of our podcasts, like I always tell you, make sure you send it to somebody, say, hey man, check this out. Also subscribe, Street Gospel TV on YouTube, and then on any major podcast platform, we're out there. So make sure you do that. We appreciate you all out there listening. But today, I'm pretty excited about this one, man, because I'll get into it. But this is huge for me. I'll talk about it later, but I always got to put on a little music for my guests when I introduce them, and I thought I'd do a nice little cut right here, and this guy that we have on episode number 31 today, I mean, he is an OG hooper. I mean, to the 10th degree, man. I mean, if you were in my day, this guy was, he was it. His name was everywhere. And this is pre-social media days. I mean, this is like word of mouth. Have you heard of this dude? Hey, have you checked that dude out? I mean, this was it. He is a father. He is a believer. He is a businessman. He got his own production company. He is... And he'll probably say this is probably the most important thing. He's a mentor to many kids, helps many kids out. But I want to welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast. Excited about this one, Mr. Schea Cotton.
Thanks for having me.
What's up, man?
Man, just blessed to be here. Excited about this new year up and coming. A lot of great things on the docket. The doc's out. Long time coming. I'm really thankful that we're getting a good rapport from the fans and people that want to watch it, and it's spreading fast even in the pandemic, so it's a blessing.
I know it's amazing, man. So for those out there that don't know who Schea Cotton is, I mean, sum it up, he was the Lebron before Lebron. Lebron had this hype coming in to the league from high school. Everybody was following him, but Schea was that before. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it, right? I mean, that's who you were. You were LeBron before LeBron, a beast. And then you made this documentary called Manchild, which is basically about your life. I mean, it's a story of how you came up. It's a story of how you started balling, and then all the triumphs and trials of that came along with that, right?
That's right. Yeah, it was a long time in the making, probably about 8 years total. I was approached by the director of our documentary, Eric Patah Herbert, with the production company Our True Group, based out of Long Beach. Right around 29 years old, I was about to turn 30, and I wasn't quite ready yet. So right around 30 is when I said, yeah, I think now is the time. I decided to retire. We met, brainstormed, put everything together. I got them all my footage, edited all the VHS, pixelated stuff that you see.
Right.
The cloudy stuff, that's what my father shot, rest in peace. So this film is near and dear to my heart, and I never quit on it. It took 4 years to distribute. We're 1091 Pictures now out of New York City.
Nice.
And it's doing real well, so it's a blessing.
I mean, it's got to be, you said it took a little bit of time for you to say, okay, let's do it. I mean, was there some apprehension there? Because I tell my wife, I see these comedians and they do these one person shows, or they do these acts, and it's the story of their life, right? And she goes, you realize to tell the story of your life, you really have to tell the story of your life, the good the bad and the ugly. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'm not ready for that. So was there some apprehension when they said, hey, because you really gotta put it out there, right?
Yeah, I think at that time, that's a great question. I was in the right spot. I was vulnerable, and I was allowing myself to be a vessel, for our Creator. And I think it took humility, and a lot of courage to basically put my life on the canvas. And, my family, mother, father, my brother as well, and everybody that spoke on my behalf, I wanted it to be real. I wasn't into, just make it look cute. So, everybody be like,
right.
Oh, wow. No, you have to have the not so great things also.
Yeah.
To keep the balance, and I wanted people to speak from both sides, not just from the positive, but maybe whatever you felt I could have been better at. So there's that contrast.
Yeah.
And it makes it feel more authentic.
Yeah. Anytime you have some vulnerability, I appreciate that. Like even with like a pastor or a leader or, a CEO at work or whatever, when there's some like realness, right? When there's some vulnerability to their sense, it makes you feel like, okay, this dude's real.
Right.
And that's the vibe I kind of got from the documentary Manchild. I mean, it was, you were vulnerable. Even your mother, your father came off as just really authentic. And I think you can really feel that in the documentary.
Absolutely. They captured the vision. My production team, our True Group, I tell them they're some of the best in the industry. That was their first sports film.
Wow.
So that was big. They do a lot of music, videos and different songs and stuff with major artists. I'm really excited about where it's headed because the look, the feel, everything is a match from the beginning, the intro song. The minute I heard that song, we were in the edit room, I said, that song's got to be in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to pull people in right away.
Right.
You always hear hip-hop songs and different things in the beginning of documentaries. You expect that raw and uncut. Well, this is more like, I want to touch the heartstrings. Yeah. We're going to pull on you emotionally before we even get started. So it was right on time.
I think it was great, man. I think you came off sincere. One of the main things I liked about it is that you seem content, man. I mean, there's a lot of I've seen documentaries out there. There's a famous hooper. You probably know him, Lloyd Daniels.
Absolutely.
Right, and I watched that documentary.
Sweet Pea.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Lloyd. Lloyd had game.
Yeah, he was tough.
And then he went to UNLV.
Right.
And then he was with Coach Tark, and then he goes, to San Antonio, and it didn't work. It didn't work out the way he wanted it to work out.
Right.
He had the opportunity, but you kind of see his life, and it didn't pan out that great. And I'm not trying to diss that man,
right.
But much respect to him. He's a survivor, But when you don't achieve some success, and when they built you up so high, it is tough, man. And I think in the documentary, one thing I was really happy to see is that you seem content. Did that take some time to? Did that take some time to give? Because I don't think everybody really understands. Schea was top notch, man. Schea was going to go to the league. Schea was going to be like KG and go straight from high school to the league. I mean, that's what they were talking. And to not really play in the league, I don't want to give the whole documentary away. You really had to come to some.
Yeah, and I can't take credit for that. I think I always believed in the Creator, and I took pride in saying, you know what, it didn't work the way I thought it was going to play out, so I want you to do it this time. And that probably was over 10 years ago, and I've been steadfast in my commitment and my sacrifice since then, and that's really helped heal that emptiness.
Yeah.
Because when your peers get the bag, and you're like, man, I used to serve all my peers, and they get in the bag, and I'm over here, I'm like a redhead stepchild or something. So playing all over the world, it gave me real experience as a young man.
Right.
And adversity, dealing with different cuisine, dealing with different languages, and the culture and stuff like that. I learned a lot playing internationally compared to being here. So I had to take the positives from a really difficult situation to move forward. And, that's a big reason why we got the documentary in place, because it didn't work out the way I thought it would have. So I said, you know what? You learn more from your failures than you do from your success, and I can help a lot of people.
That's
and
true.
That was my intention.
That's true. I like what you said about you played, you did play pro ball overseas.
Right.
And the perspective, right? There's something about, I talk about this, it seems like it comes up with every other guest that I have on my show. But sometimes when you're just surrounded by your people or you're surrounded by your neighborhood, like your perspective is so limited to realistically a few blocks, right? Or our neighborhood or our city.
Right.
But when you do you think that helped you by seeing the world and how the world really operates, and then coming back and saying, yeah, this is where I live, this is where I'm from, but I've been around a little bit. It gives you some perspective on life, right? I think
Absolutely.
a lot of youth don't see the bigger picture sometimes.
Absolutely, and that's major, because in order for me to be able to make this type of impact today, I had to go through the adversity to get to this point. Everybody talks about, I want to make a difference, I want to leave a legacy. Well, what's your testimony? What have you been through? What can you teach people? Like, if everything worked out, it's not a whole lot of lessons in that. People learn from the trials and the hardships and stuff like that in life. And I think the documentary shows that. It shows, number one, that I'm human, and secondly, that I'm a person of humility, that I'm willing to put this out there regardless of what people think, because I'm focused on the youth. I mean, if we want to make a difference, we got to touch the seeds, and that's my focus.
Yeah, that's huge, man. I was thinking when I saw you working with the youth, and I've been following you on Instagram at Schea Cotton.
Absolutely.
I always see you're training somebody, you're mentoring somebody. I think the other day you were at Martin Luther King Park, right? And I could just imagine if every guy that went to the league or even played in college would just give 10% back. Just a little 10% back.
Right.
That would make a huge difference in some of our neighborhoods, right?
Our dynamic in North America, the narrative would change drastically. That's part of my plan. That thing you saw at King Park the other day, I'm working closely with a big organization that's nationwide, exactly worldwide also. I can't talk about the details of it right now, but this could be a game changer. My goal is to really change the narrative in our inner cities and give our kids hope. Kids of color need to look up to somebody that's been, where they want to go and come from their demographic. And I feel like I fit the bill for that. So that's a blessing, and it's a responsibility for me at the same time that I take seriously.
Sure, because now you're accountable to those kids, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it has a double thing. I say that with my son, and my daughter is I don't wild out because I got to set the tone for them.
Right.
I see that with you, man. It's like you have a greater responsibility to not be Schea, hey, Schea Cotton in the LA Times did this and it was all bad, or did this, but something that's positive to show them. I always think that, everybody can give back a little bit.
Absolutely.
And if we all gave back and spent a little bit of time, there's nothing wrong with being a mentor.
Right.
I mean, there is some success in being a mentor because you can see the investment you made in somebody, and they grow and they become successful, and you're just like, I have a little part of that, right?
Absolutely. And it's worth more than money. It feels better. I've learned that my best gratitude comes from doing things without a return financially.
Yeah.
Whether it's charities or just going to speak at a school to kids that may be impoverished, at risk. They don't have the money to pay my ticket, that I usually charge. And say, you know what, I'm going to do this on the arm, because you have to do some of that too. It can't just be about making money all the time. You're gonna rub the wrong people the wrong way. So that's kind of what I think about the opportunity and the cause. If it matches, then I usually do it.
Right. Yeah. You came to the podcast. I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opps.
Hey, now in the doc, it shows your father. Rest in peace, man.
Thank you.
And your mother. I mean, how huge is it in the inner city to have both? And I'm not knocking, those that are growing up with single mothers or with grandma, because we all have that in our families. You know what I mean? But it's definitely something where there's an issue there, right? Where we in our communities where we need both parents and actively. Maybe not. Maybe the father doesn't live there, but if the father's active in the kid's life,
better than nothing.
It's better than nothing, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's part of why I do what I do today, because I know there's a lot of kids that are growing up that feel like they're just lost. They don't have any help. Who do I turn to? Where's my role model? Who is the person that I respect, that I can look up to and listen to? that's kind of my position. People see me, oh, trainer, this, that. I said, listen, I wear a lot of hats. If I tell you everything I do, it's going to sound like bragging. So mentor is a lot more appropriate.
Yeah.
Producer. And since the documentary, I've watched so much content from Netflix, Amazon. I mean, I'm like, when I'm not working, I'm at home. If I'm not resting, I'm watching something because I'm constantly thinking of different ideas of other stuff and projects and opportunities that I may have moving forward. You know, how we can really take the Manchild doc and just put that in the hemisphere and let that just reside up there.
Yeah.
And I always said, if we can be mentioned in the conversation of a Blue Chips or a Hoop Dreams, something along those lines, then we made it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, those are classic.
Yeah,
I mean, those
sure.
those are the ones. You know, we Hoop Dreams. I mean, that thing's like 30 years old at least now, right? I mean, it's still relevant.
Made over 17 million.
It's still relevant.
Yep.
You know what
I mean, you talk about a raw footage. It wasn't pretty.
It wasn't,
but
it
was a great storyline and showed the contrast. You know, a kid going to public school, private, both growing up in inner city, and you know, obviously how that worked out.
That was huge. Both parents keeping you in line. You kind of talk about that. That's huge, man. I mean, your father seemed. How was your father? Was
nonsense?
He was the nonsense guy. And what was your mother?
My mom was a little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah, my mother was loving. You know, the mother with the son, that maternal connection. That love
that's Cam right there, man. With my wife, man. I don't know, they got something going on over there, man. I was like, I'll be hard on him, and then she be over here patting him on the back. It's okay.
Yeah, that love is like, you know, there's a balance
it's
there.
Good though.
She did a good thing with that. My father was more of work ethic, discipline, being accountable, you know, being a man of your word, having strong faith in God, and just being a good person.
Yeah.
But understanding that you got to work for what you want in this life. And I'm glad that he implemented that early in my life. You know, when I started as a kid doing construction with my brother at 11, I hated it. And I didn't understand why he made me do it until I got on the court and I started dogging everybody in front of me because I didn't want to do construction. I said, I want to play basketball, and I'm going to show everybody. So that I did play with a chip on my shoulder, and that was part of it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things that I think resonated inside the documentary too, was that you were like a blue-collar superstar, because I seen you. It shows you know your training regimen, and you're just putting in work. Like it was, you had blinders on. Like, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna do whatever I can to do it. I think that made an impact too in the documentary, because you came off like not entitled.
Right.
Like a lot of stars come entitled. I remember Tyson Chandler going to Dominguez, right, pulling up in the lack, you know, the Escalade, right? And I would be like, okay, man, like this is a little unbelievable, man. I'm not getting no money from nobody. I'm like, brother, you know, you pulling up to Dominguez in an Escalade at 17. It seems a little privileged, but I think you came off as like I think you said in one interview, you said getting to the top is easy. Staying on top is tough.
Absolutely. That's where the real work comes in. In high school at 15 years old, I was already nationally ranked and known before I even touched Mater Dei. So when I got there, everybody at Mater Dei was like, who's this guy? Outside of my head coach, Garrett McKnight, he already knew me. I said, you guys are going to see. Don't worry. You know, I started the first 30 days I came off the bench, sat behind a senior, Josh Porter, one of my teammates, and I didn't like that too much. So I took that personal. I said, you know what? I'm good enough to start on this team, and I'm going to show them in practice every day. So that was my goal, you know, to destroy him in practice. You know, I love you, Josh, but I'm just telling the story.
Hey,
you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
But, you know, this is life.
That's the nature of the beast.
The best supposed to play. You know, you rise to the occasion, and you're consistent. That's where your coach develops confidence, and your team develops the bond. So it worked. Mater Dei was probably my best basketball years. Had a great experience. Me and Coach Midnight still talk today. He's the winningest coach in California history.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're doing some things over there right, and I feel like I played a big part in a lot of the guys to come after I left, you know, to play there just because of the way I approached the game.
Yeah, because if you pass by Mater Dei, I don't work too far. I work in Santa Ana.
Okay.
So I remember one time I went driving out the office, just had started there, and I'm driving, and I'm just looking for somewhere to get something to eat, right? And then I pass by, and I go, this is where Mater Dei's at? It was like, this is in Santa Ana hood.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Santa Ana's the hood of
Yep.
Orange County.
Yep.
There's no doubt. I don't care what. There's some parts of Anaheim, but Santa Ana's, and I'm like, okay, and it's small.
Yeah.
It's not a huge school, but they produce some winners.
Yeah.
And I think I like what Coach did to you there. Here comes Schea. You know, this guy's been balling since he was 12 years old, banging on dudes.
Right.
But he's gonna have to earn his spot.
That's right.
And I don't think it was a problem for you. You realized, like, I'm a worker.
Right.
I can
right.
do this.
Right.
Right.
Right. I got to earn my keep. And, coming in, my parents told Coach, look, he's not looking for any favoritism. He wants to be here. We don't care where you play him, when you play him. He just wants a fair opportunity. And I took it to the heart. I said, listen, I know I can play. I believe in myself, and I knew that I could help my team be better. And we lost, I think, in the CIF against Crenshaw in the Arrowhead Pond at that year in '95, which is now the Honda Center.
Right.
I think I had like maybe 15 and like 7 or 8. They called some phantom fouls on me to get me out the game. It was political. We probably would have won if I would have played the rest of the game. So they knew we got to get him out.
Well, they couldn't have the private school beat the city school, right? I mean, the public school, right?
Right. On K Cal in front of 19,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's never really been done.
I mean, now modern day,
Right.
we expect that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But back then, it was a different animal back
Absolutely.
then. I mean, it was like city, private school. Hey, man, you know what I mean? We can't let that happen.
That's right. And Crenshaw, too. I mean, 90 minutes, 90 feet, and you guarding the whole game, full court. That's when they were really Crenshaw. Now it's down.
Yeah.
The city only has a few teams.
Right.
But back then it was like Crenshaw, Westchester, Manual Arch. You know, you got to come with it.
I remember I played a little bit of hoop, man, right? So I remember I was on JV, and we go to Fremont.
Okay.
Okay, so Fremont has some beasts back then, man, and I remember like the 2 stars, Chris Ford, some other dude walk in the gym, man, and they were just like huge. They looked like grown men, you know what I mean? And I was like, who are these dudes? And my dad would go to the games, but my dad was big on sports and would read the paper. Oh, that's Chris Ford right there, and I mean, massive dudes, but. Yeah, city's down now.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of opportunities unless you're really good to kind of go to a private school. But in the old days, you would ramp your city where you were from, right? You would play at the school you were from. So definitely was a different time. You mentioned Martyr Day, and I heard a story that you went there and you wanted to prove a point. So you banged on Miles Simon. Miles Simon, for everybody out there, I mean, he went to the NBA, but he was really known Arizona Wildcat, winning championship, straight baller. I mean, once again, were you trying to prove a point on that, man?
Yeah, absolutely.
The freshman?
Yeah, I'm more of like the in-your-face dude. I don't do a whole lot of ducking and dodging. And I said, look, I know this guy's the man on the team, but we got to play together. So I wanted to show the talent, like, look, I know you're good, but I'm a little different. So I got a gift, and I really love this game, and I love to win. So it was that competitiveness in practice. And I think we were doing a one-on-one drill, full court. I'm guarding him. He's coming down. He tries to lay me. I blocked it, got the ball back, broke him down, went down the other end, dunked on him. So, and this was like early when I checked in Modern Day. This was like the first week.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So I was setting the tone from the beginning, but people don't realize I tested myself against All-American high school players, college players, and NBA players at 15 and 16 years old. I'm playing against, all the NBA guys at men's UCLA North Gym with Magic Johnson running on his team with all NBA guys. I'm the only high school kid in the gym. So
and those games at UCLA North Gym were legendary.
Big time.
Legendary.
Jim Jackson in his prime, Grant Hill in his prime, Kenny Anderson, Magic obviously.
That's where everybody played in the offseason.
B. Scott. I mean, you name all the top NBA players that's in the league, they're coming to UCLA in the summer to get those runs. I mean, because it's like 2 hours of just straight hooping. And then you're training in between. I'm 15, so I'm got my trainer, Marv Marinovich, do my workout, and then I break early to get to the gym to play. I said, I got to get my run in because I knew the level of talent that was in the gym. And I said, look, if I can compete with these guys, I'm going to reign supreme mentally against my peers. It was all about the edge.
So you had an older brother that was good too,
Right.
played in the league. So he's probably beating you up, making you tough.
Yep.
Right? And then you go and play with these NBA guys in the summer, making you tough.
Yep.
So when you go to play for Mater Dei,
it's nothing.
No big thing.
Yeah, and that's what people didn't realize. I had already been battle tested before I even touched the floor at Mater Dei. I was like, oh, y'all in for a treat. You looking at me because I'm a freshman, but I play much older than my age.
No, were you a trash talker?
Not really. I just love to compete. You know what I mean? Like,
that's your game?
Yeah, that's it. But if you started talking, then the beast going to come out for sure.
Were you a good trash talker?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to hit below the belt and throw you off course a little bit. And you're looking like, how you know that? You know, just get some backstory on you.
Oh, you're one of those dudes.
Yeah.
Kobe, like, you know what I mean?
That's it.
Kobe talking to people in different languages and talking smack. I'll be like, who does that, man? That's like taking it to a whole nother level.
Right.
So, AAU ball, high school ball, you play against some of the best guys. And some of these guys are in your documentary, which is phenomenal that you got them in there. But these guys are showing you, like, mad respect, giving you props. I mean, we're talking about, like, Randy Moss, and a lot of people didn't know. Randy Moss, they said, was a good basketball player, too, in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to the NFL and became Hall of Famer. Paul Pierce, Ron Artest, Meta,
right.
Jason Hart.
Right.
I mean, the
Aaron
who's
Davis.
the BD. How could I forget?
Yeah.
I mean, the who's who of hoopers is in the doc talking about Schea Cotton.
Yeah.
I mean, if that doesn't give a stamp of approval, not only on the documentary but on your game, I mean, I don't really know what does.
Yeah, and still today, you know, it's all these hurdles, leaps and bounds. You know, like, people have a hard time giving people their flowers when they're alive. You know, and it was never really about the credit for me. It was just more about, these are my peers. I've been disconnected. You know, I've been like put over here on the shelf. You know, like God had me in this cellar for 12 to 15 years.
It's crazy, man.
And now I'm in a position where it's like owning 2 businesses, you know, in the process of creating a great foundation. You know, we're probably a month out from getting going with that. In the film space, you know, I have a potential feature that I may be a lead actor for. You know, if this thing works out and it gets green lighted. So
now you're doing everything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have to.
This ain't fair, man.
Yeah, you have to, man. I mean, in this economy with all the inflation,
True.
In the world we're living in today, you got to keep your foot on the gas.
Yeah, you got to keep going. I mean, you got to find something new. That's 100% true, man. I was particularly interested. I mean, did anybody ever get over on Schea on the court? Anybody we know, like, can somebody come and hear this podcast and go, yeah, but I ball Schea up, man. There's this game in AAU this year, and he had like 15, and I was up there in 35. Is there anybody that can really say that?
Not to my recollection. Not to my recollection. There may be one game where maybe I struggled a little bit, but you know, I made sure that I did other things, and you know, when I scored, I made a name for myself. But I showed up every night. I mean, my best one-on-one competition was against Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. So we played against each other in the NBA Players Camp in Princeton, New Jersey. I was a sophomore I believe that year, rising junior, and he was going to be a senior. This is the year he got drafted.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't really know about him that much. I heard of him because he started getting better late in high school, and I had already had a name as a freshman. So I was like, okay, this dude Kobe out of Philly, everybody's talking to, Jelly Bean's son. Okay, let's see.
Dude, I love your medal, your makeup, man.
Yeah.
You're like, no problem.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
That's it. Because I'm coming from the West. It was like one other guy in the camp from the West, one of the Collins twins. Jaron or Jason, I can't remember which one. Everybody else was from back east, you know, down south, Midwest. And, you know, me and Kobe met the night before. We're sitting in the mess hall. Everybody's eating in the cafeteria and, you know, just exchanging stories. And, you know, they introduced me to him, and we start talking a little bit. And he's like, oh, yeah, you from the West Coast, son. You know, so he took a couple shots at me. And, you know, the West is soft and this and that.
Here we go.
So, all right, I'm not going to say what I said to him, but I took a stance and let him know, look, I'm coming tomorrow. You better be ready. So, and it was probably my best one-on-one matchup. And on that day, I was better. And our team won the game. And I think since then, we had a mutual respect for each other as competitors from that point on. I mean, I would see him in L.A. at Venice and stuff in the summer. He always would acknowledge, go out of his way, you know, to speak and stuff. And that meant a lot.
Yeah.
That meant a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe was a dog.
Absolutely.
I mean, and I guess that game you were the bigger dog. And I mean, who has a story like that?
Yeah.
There's only probably a handful, maybe less.
Right.
You know, maybe one or two guys that could say, I played against Kobe. I was younger than him, and I had my way. It was a good game. I mean, and I mean, that's huge, man.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you're from LA, and then he comes to LA, and it's 20 years of seeing Kobe, man. Are you sitting like this watching the games and being like,
yeah, I used to beat myself up like, man, I can't believe they wouldn't give me another chance. Like, I just wanted the world to see me play at that level, and I knew I had the talent and the tools, but God had a different plan for my life. It took probably 10 years to come to grips with it, dealing with suicide, depression, and things like that, which is in the doc as well, the story. I'm at peace now. I'm excited about where I'm headed and the work I'm doing with the future of our youth. That's more important to me, right? Because the ball's going to stop bouncing someday. Sure. It's not about how much money you make. It's about what you're becoming in the process. That's what I live for.
Yeah, the impact, right? Right. I mean, there's a lot of NBA stars that made a ton of money, right, and their careers are over, and you look at the impact they made. I mean, if every NBA team was about it, you know what I mean, and all their players were about the impact they can make on a city is wild, right? I mean, it's really wild. And so the legacy, when you talk about legacy, even with Kobe, super amount of money. Yeah. But what's the legacy he left behind? It was the Mamba Foundation. Right. It was encouraging young girls that they can be stars and they can be sports athletes. And I mean, that's the legacy that he left behind. The hard work, the work ethic, all that stuff. Right. The money, it ends up being secondary in the long run. Right.
Right. It doesn't make you happy. It helps you afford a better quality of life, okay? And it allows you freedom where you're not tied down to do things because you have to do it. But outside of that, it's a means of an exchange, and people need to keep it in perspective. I think if a lot of our professional athletes had more hearts for our youth, that narrative in our inner cities would be much different today. Yeah. The graduation rate would be way higher. We'd see less crime, less teen pregnancy, all these things as far as drug abuse. That would change because now when you motivate a kid, you inspire him, and then you train him up with discipline and love, they can flourish in the world. But if you just give them everything, you're setting them up for failure because when they face adversity, they're going to quit because they don't know what it feels like to push through it. So exactly. It's those life skills that's being taught that's more important.
Yeah, I think that's huge, man. Somebody asked me the day I told a buddy, he follows the podcast, good friend of mine, and I go, I'm having Schea Cotton on the podcast. He goes, what? I've seen the doc, and he goes, what the heck, man? So we were going back and forth talking about that, and one of the things that we were talking about is initially I saw the doc, but I didn't give it away to him. I go watch it. He goes, I'm gonna watch it. So one of the things he says, what happened? And I don't want to give too much away of the documentary, but he says what happened. And this is the sad part of our society, right? Right. What happened? Yeah. Not that he said that, but our society in general goes, what happened? And it's usually something negative, right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he must have got messed up, or he must have, fell off, he maybe drugs or some sort of crime or something, right? We think that right away. Right. But when I told him, you know what I told him? He goes, what happened to that guy? And he goes, why didn't he ever make it, dude? I remember that guy. He's from Southgate. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, you know what it was, man? Bad luck. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I could sum up why he didn't make it, I would just say it was just bad luck, right? Yeah. I mean, other than God's plan, we know that, right? Yeah. I mean, but from the regular eye, you know what I mean?
Politics, I was the number one player in North America in 1995 at 16 years old. It's work to get to the top, but the real work is staying there when you get there. And that's what we just talked about briefly. And people don't understand that, I was a childhood celebrity. I'm 13 years old on ESPN, Scholastic Sports America, Sunkissed Kids. These are the biggest national outlets before social media. Yeah. So people don't realize, like, when we say pre-social media, there was no YouTube, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, so there wasn't that instant recognition and credibility. You had to go to the gym. You had to read the newspapers. You had to get Street and Smith magazine. I'm sure you remember Cal High Sports.
Cal High Sports. Jason Kidd was on the cover.
Yeah, me and my brother graced the cover of it too. It's like, where do you go when you get to Sports Illustrated? And I tell people, I hit that.
Especially
at 16.
In those days. Especially in those days.
Right. I mean, and you're a teen. And I got to a point where I'm like, this is worldwide. I used to look forward to the swimsuit edition like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And I just stayed focused on my goals. I said, okay, that was great, but what's next? And that's how I work. You know, once I accomplish one goal, set the next one. No complacency.
Yeah. Yeah. You bad luck. Didn't make it. You talked a little bit about suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't talk about that too much these days. You know, the mental health stuff and things such as that. Realistically, to be within reach of reaching the NBA, millions of dollars, all that, and to lose that, it had to take a toll on your mind for a long time. You said it took you 10 years to really say, be okay with it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, how much of those years were just turbulent years of just, I mean, up and down of, you know, thoughts, you know, early, maybe, I don't know how many times you thought about suicide, but maybe it was only once. But, you know, I mean, you had to go up and down a ton of times to the point where maybe you didn't even want to watch hoop no more because it just got you down.
Oh, yeah. You know, my heart turned black at some point, and I often thought about ways I could take my life, you know, and I didn't like the idea of what that looked like, you know, as far as the suffering and things like that. I said, I want it to be quick, and I would hate to do something and I live through it and I'm a veggie, you know, and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was the mental, and when I engulfed myself in the Word and started really praying and reading my Bible and, you know, just making a point to go to church, to be uplifted. I don't know. It's like God was doing something internally in me at that point where he started to take the pain away and started to refresh me and show me different things. Like, it's going to be okay. You're not feeling good this morning. I'm going to do something this day, today, that's going to change your disposition.
Wow.
To show you that I got you. I know it's tough, you know, and 10 years. I mean, 10 years it took. It was like one of the best players to come out of Los Angeles that they're saying didn't make it. How do I live with myself?
Yeah.
You know, I could play the card, and when I see somebody at gas station and liquor stores, whatever, restaurants, and that was still tough coming home when, you know, things don't add up and you got to see people and you got to talk and still be respectful and all that.
Explain the whole story
right.
for the 1,000th time.
Right. And I did that, and I said, you know what? This is going to teach me more humility about myself, to be able to face this giant and show people that, you know what? I'm good. I'm human. It didn't work, but I'm still here. You know what I mean? I learned a lot from it. I'm a better person because of it. And whatever's for me in the future, God is going to provide that rather than man or woman. I changed my whole perspective. I walked away from the game because I said the game wasn't good to me. It wasn't fair to me. I gave everything to it. I helped a lot of people when I was on top. And when I needed them most, they weren't there. My mother was there. You know, my pops stayed down. Rest in peace. And, you know, my mother's like my biggest fan, biggest cheerleader. She's my anchor. I mean, you know, just keeps it real. Tells me what I need to know, not what I want to know. You know, and that's the way I live. I want people to be real about their opportunities in life. Everybody's not going to play in the NBA. You know, basketball is a tough sport to master. But there's a lot of other jobs out there that people can get that are realistic. You know, whether you're a fireman or, you know, a policeman or a doctor, a lawyer, or, you know, a contractor. I mean, there's a lot of jobs that pay a lot of good money, but they're not so rewarding as far as
glamorous.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. From the limelight aspect. Yeah. But I was always under the impression, you know, growing up in the LA Harbor area, like getting a good job for us was being a longshoreman at that time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Still is a great job.
Right. I mean, you're making $100,000 if you're working good numbers. So me and my brother said, look, we want to be the biggest to come out of our area. And I feel like we accomplished that on some level because I was growing up around gangsters and D-boys, you know.
Yeah. And
whoever wasn't doing the longshoreman work, he was in the streets. It's like, nah, my pops would have my head if I tried to go that route. I had to be accountable. I was more intimidated of my dad than the street.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all don't understand who my dad is.
I mean, your dad looked like the sheriff, man. Especially with his cowboy hat and stuff. I was like, man, this dude ain't messing around. And the docket comes off like that big time.
Absolutely.
I think in the hood, and you probably have a great answer for this. in the hood, you kind of get a pass when you're a hooper or you're a baller, right?
Yeah.
The neighborhood guys kind of
they try to protect you.
They get it, right?
Typically, and then I have family members that was in the streets going hard, so it was like, yeah, he hooping, and his cousins such and such. We don't really want that smoke, so they just kind of let me do my thing and really supported me. And then when I came around, if something was about to go down, hey, you need to leave, that kind of thing. So I respected that because it was like I was that close where I could have engaged if I wanted to, but I chose, I'm gonna just ride this wave, and however rough the terrain may be, I got to meet it head on. Like, I was raised better than this. I'm not gonna allow myself go that route because I'm still an example for a lot of kids.
Yeah.
They're looking up to me, and I knew that, so I took that to heart, and I'm glad I did because if I didn't, I probably wouldn't be here.
That's crazy, man. Because Manchild, that's the name of the doc. That was kind of a nickname they gave you because you were a child in a man's body,
right.
But your thinking was like a man also.
Right.
You're far beyond your years to say, nah, you know what, I can't do that. I'm setting an example.
Right.
That's a trip, man.
Yeah, I read a lot, man. I would write. I was into poetry. I love to draw, so I thought I'd be an architect when I was in school. And I read a lot of stuff of interest and always looked into the encyclopedia, research words, and figure out what they meant. So I would be more studious when I gave a lot of interviews because I did a lot of that over the years. So it really helped me for the life I'm living today.
That's what I like. I saw a lot of your interviews. I think there was one out of a guy from Long Beach that interviewed you maybe a year ago or so, and super articulate, man. The way you spoke, and you just you can tell this guy's sharp, man. It's just he's not just some hooper,
right?
And
right.
claiming that, but very articulate, man, in a lot of ways. I wanted to segue into something you mentioned earlier, and I want to talk to you about this because the notion is East Coast basketball is tougher than West Coast, and and people, what do they think? East Coast, the Rucker, you know what I mean?
Right.
They think West Coast, well, maybe you played at Venice, whatever. Right. It's the beach, you know what I mean? There's dudes over there lifting weights, and there's chicks in bikinis over here. But we're at the Rucker, and there's fence, and there's neighborhood dudes, and But there is some parks out there that get rough.
Yeah.
And you got to really prove that there ain't no calling fouls.
Right.
And you got to really prove who you are on some of these courts out here, man. What's the thing with that, with East Coast basketball, thinking that they're just – because we have some hoopers.
Yeah, for sure.
We have some hoopers here.
Look at the stats.
Shea, Pierce, Barron.
Yep.
Toby had game.
Ricky Price.
Yep. Travis Reed, Riverside.
Edo Bannon.
Edo. I still got Charles's jersey in my closet, man.
Yep.
I bust that out number 13.
Yep.
All these, I mean, we could even say Capono, Lakewood.
Yep.
All these dudes, I mean.
James Harden. Another one.
Oh, yeah.
Artesia, yep.
How could I forget?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Game.
Yeah.
Not only game, but game all the way to the league and have game. That's
and big blockbuster deals as far as contracts to a lot of these guys.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that narrative has changed. I think they realize California got some ball players now, but it's that old adage, the Mecca, New York City, and then they hit you with the story, the Rucker and Soul in the Hole and West Fourth. And, I've been there, done that. I played in the Rucker. And, I played with the Terrell Squad, Fat Joe's Squad. And
really?
And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was brief. I think I did like 2 games. They flew me in.
The height?
Yeah. This is when the Rucker was like Jay-Z had the Reebok, the S. Dot Carters.
Yep.
That was one of my favorite shoes back then. This was in a major time, but we weren't getting the representation we're getting today or the respect. So I had a lot of drive. I was carrying, on my shoulders like LA as a whole.
Right.
Because I'm like, when you think of us, I want you to think of me. So that when I played, I would do things that I felt other people wouldn't be able to duplicate.
Yeah. I mean, I think people underestimate, or don't know about. I mean, my big thing was the O'Bannon brothers.
Yeah.
Seeing them come out. Baron Davis. I mean, Baron Davis prior to getting that knee injury,
she was a problem.
I mean, he still has hops, after.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing like pictures of Baron Davis like almost parallel to the rim, like dunking.
Right.
And I was like, who is this dude?
Right.
I mean, Jason Kidd,
Yep.
Northern California.
Big time.
I mean,
Gary Payton.
GP, man. You
Yeah.
can't forget about GP. And the Collins twins,
Yep.
I mean, all these dudes, I mean, they're all from the West Coast,
Yep.
man. Solid basketball players, made a lot of money in the league, made it to the league. I mean,
Right.
definitely was huge.
Right. Yeah, this is just a different game today. I think it's more technical than when we played. It was a lot more physical. So a lot of the foreigners playing in the league right now wouldn't have the success that they are having now then. So they're fortunate.
Yeah, across the board, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I think going all the way down to high school basketball, AAU basketball.
Yeah.
Would you say, not to sound, when we get older, what do we always do? Back in my day, right? Music back in my day, or but realistically, the league all the way down to high school basketball, maybe junior high basketball, is a lot more softer than when you played.
Yeah, and I think the kids are less students of the game. I don't think they put the time in development-wise that they should. Everybody's got an AAU team they're a part of, and they're doing 1 million tournaments during the year, but who's working on their skill set and their weaknesses? Learning what it is to be a student of the game. Are you watching film, doing video analysis of your opponent or your games, the mistakes that you make? Are you jotting those down so you're making mental notes and going back to the drawing board, working on these weaknesses? These are the things that I did, me and my brother. This is how we came up, and it took us a long way, and I do it in my life too. I mean, making myself accountable every day. Like, did I measure up today? Did I do something wrong to somebody? Did I say something wrong? Like, what could I change so I don't do that again? Because, sometimes our day will get in front of us, and it'll get the better end of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I was talking to my buddy. He came through. His name is Jason. And we were talking about, like, I was telling him he's usually always a positive dude. And he was telling me, I'm not always positive. I know we've always had a good relationship, but there's times when I slide. And one thing we talked about is just being aware, just like you just said.
Right.
Like, I'm aware of how I performed today.
That's
or I'm
right.
going to evaluate at the end of the day, like, did I treat that dude good?
Mm-hmm.
My wife's really good about that. And she checks me sometimes. Hey, at church, you kind of shined that dude on. He, a young dude came up to you and was like, hey, what's up? And you were like, hey, what's up? And you kept going.
Right.
Oh, no, I didn't. And she's like, yes, you did.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I'll text him right now. Hey, brother, sorry.
Yeah.
I just shined you on today. I got you, man.
That's right.
But awareness is huge, man. And I like that you said that. Just being aware of what I did today, evaluating myself, how can I be better?
Right.
I think the best people in this world are always looking to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm learning that through my therapist. I mean, obviously, I've had to have some work over the years. And, Mindfulness for Beginners is a good book for people to pick up that has to deal with that, and it just focuses on being in the present and understanding what stillness really is, and you can observe your feelings and things that are taking place. You don't always have to engage.
That's good. I think, you coming from the neighborhood, therapy is like taboo.
Yeah.
And my sister, she always tells me, she's I know I'm gonna get this wrong, but she's like a master's social worker, all this stuff. She got mad at me last time because I should have wrote it down. But she tells me, especially in the hood, it's very hard.
Yeah.
Because there's no outlet for us to say anything. We got to be hard.
Yeah.
We got to be tough.
Yep.
We got to have this outer shell that just there's nowhere to go.
That machismo bravado, exactly.
Yeah, and there's something about going to a therapist and just saying, this is how I feel.
Right. A stranger, somebody you don't know, doesn't really know you. You're paying good money for them to help you. So the best thing you can do is be vulnerable and just put it on the table. I mean, and you'd be surprised what that does, just doing that. And then getting some solid feedback with solutions to help you work through that. I mean, everybody should have that. And I think the toughest work that you'll ever do is working on yourself.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that a lot of people choose to ignore, and they really need to look at that, because I think if you can impact yourself and make yourself better, you can be more of a value to others.
Right. I think we're not a finished product.
Right.
Right. We're constantly being worked on. I think we won't be finished till the day we die.
Right.
That's just it.
Yeah.
So if you were stuck in Schea 15 years ago, you'd be a miserable man.
Right.
Right. And myself also. If I was the same dude, you mentioned your father passing away. My father passed away. It was rough.
Sorry to hear that.
It was tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
if I was still that same dude I was back 20 years ago, it wouldn't benefit anybody. It wouldn't benefit my kids, my wife, my personal health. So I always try to say, just get better, even if it's a little bit every day.
Absolutely.
I mean, do you teach that to your kids? Because you're a mentor to a lot of kids, man.
Yeah, I do, and that's nationwide. You know, I have a lot of kids. One in particular I'm dealing with right now. This kid was a project. You know, never really played basketball. He started 4 years ago. Wasn't attractive to watch. You know, could barely run up and down the court. People thought he had an attitude problem. This kid today is a rising senior, 4.5 GPA with honors. Okay, and is going to be dunking pretty soon. And now he's starting to become a contributor on his team, looking to be an impact player as a senior, looking to land a scholarship at a D1 or do a prep school year and then go in after that. So anything's possible in this world. If you want it bad enough, you make the sacrifices and you work towards it. And then when it's time, have the courage to perform. Things usually work out.
Right. It takes discipline, though,
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
What would you say is the biggest attribute one of your kids needs to have for you to work with them?
Toughness. Mental toughness.
That's funny you said that because I asked, I had Coach Mosley, East LA College, Netflix, right? Yeah. Last Chance U. He was on here. And I go, what is it, Coach? What is the one thing? And he said toughness.
Yeah.
He goes, I want toughness. That's what I want.
Yeah.
What is it with toughness, man?
Toughness is not going to allow you to fold when adversity hits. And that's what I live by. You know, just that mental fortitude of no matter what I'm faced with, I'm going to meet it head on. And as long as you can see eye to eye with your adversity, you're usually going to pass those tests. You know, it's like in math. I tell kids, fastest way between 2 points is a straight line. So what are we doing all this for? You see a lot of players, they like to go, you know, east to west. How about just north and south? How about doing that? You know, just go straight ahead. That kind of thing is, you know, toughness for me mentally, for the kids, because I'm in your face in the training and I'm challenging them. You know, the training is grueling. You don't get a lot of breaks. You know, when you're tired, you get water and you come right back. And the one-on-ones are the closest thing to a game situation. And this kid that I'm talking about is the only one that has rose to the occasion consistently in a 4-year span of time. So he wants to be a surgeon when he's done, you know, a heart or a brain. So he's going to be fine. You know, whatever he does, he's going to be the top.
He has the toughness.
Absolutely. And he's learned through the sport life skills that academics by itself doesn't teach you.
Right. I mean, I think a lot of people, you know, I do jiu-jitsu and, you know, I tell people, they always ask me, like, well, you know, should I sign my son up? I'm like, yeah, sign them up.
Right.
Teaches them discipline, teaches them toughness, commitment.
Yep.
You know, the things that you need to learn that'll stay with you the rest of their life.
Right.
You know, I mean, sports does a lot of good stuff for us if we handle it, if we do it the right way.
Right.
You know, the discipline. I got to get up early. I want to be the best, or the best of my ability.
Right.
That's the thing too, man. A lot of players get discouraged because they're not the best.
Right.
Right. But the real goal is being the best of your ability.
Absolutely.
My man that you just said right now, 4 years, he's making the best of his ability. Can't dunk.
No.
But he can look at
close.
Shea dunking on dudes at 12 years old, right?
Right. He's getting closer.
but I mean, reaching your full potential is really the goal.
Absolutely. And you have to test that. You got to test it every day. You have to make yourself accountable. And I tell kids that I train, don't just train hard when you see me. Train hard when I don't see you too. It's more important what you're doing when I don't see you every week.
Right.
Rather than the time that we spend together, because I know you're going to be motivated to impress me and work hard, but think about when you're in the gym by yourself. How hard are you going then? When you're up there at the free throw line, are you scared or are you confident?
Yeah. That's up here.
Yeah, for sure.
Shea, the legend of Schea Cotton, one of the legends, is that you had a fresh pair of Nikes every game?
Yep. That's correct.
Every game.
Every game.
In high school.
Yes.
Everybody. This is not in college. This is not playing overseas. How old were you?
15, 16 years old.
Showing up with
freshman, sophomore year. Every Nike that they made, the top athletes, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan. Who else did we had back then? Andre Agassi. You know,
those were nice. The
yeah.
Trainers.
Oh
like
yeah,
the trainers.
cross trainers. I hooped in those too.
You had to have haters.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You know, less is more. I say that all the time because you don't know who's who when things are going good. Oof. But let something go bad, you get a chance to see who's who.
When things went bad, how many of those stuck around?
Very few. I could count them on one hand. You know, like I said, my mother was my trooper through the whole process. Still today, she's a part of my board, you know, for my foundation. And people are infatuated with success, but they don't want you to have too much success because then they become envious. And then envious comes jealousy, right? So just keep a fine line. And I tell people, you want to see your future, look at your circle and focus on keeping good people around you.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't celebrate your friend's success, it's probably not really your friend.
Exactly.
Right? Because I get it, man. You know, there's always somebody that's going to come up and you're going to be like, man, I wish that was me. It's one thing to say, I wish that was me. It's another thing to be just, like you said, envious. And then that envious turns into jealousy. I mean, especially now with social media. Yeah. I mean, everybody's living their best life on
they
the
say,
ground.
Right? So they say.
You know what I mean? I remember one year we went to me and my wife went to Hawaii, and it was our 25th anniversary, right? And then we went to Florida.
Okay.
Right? Like a month and a half later, another trip.
Miami or
yeah.
Okay.
Fort Lauderdale, but we were right in there. And then we went, and then I came back and I had like tickets to the Laker game. This was a couple years ago, and we were like right there. So I had some people, they were getting a little. I'm not trying to brag.
Right.
Let me tell you the story of this.
Okay.
Let me tell you. So a dude was like, "So what's up, man? You guys won the lottery or something?" And I was like, "Nah." And then I realized, and my sister-in-law told me, "It looks like you're living like this crazy life right now."
Yeah.
And I said, "Look, my 25th anniversary, we saved, we worked our butts off to go to Maui.
Right.
That trip to Florida, my wife and my daughter won it on the Ellen show.
Nice.
They won it.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Those tickets to the Laker game, sitting right there, just 2 rows above courtside. My boss gave me those tickets. Okay. You know, never gave me tickets. Been working for my company for 15 years. You want these 4 tickets? Yeah. I'm sitting with the Laker families. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, you on the gram, yeah, I'm living great.
Right.
You know, in real life, this is what happened. We worked our butts off for this.
That's right.
We won this trip, and then I got these tickets for free. I mean, but like you said, man, it gets bad, man, and sometimes people don't know how to act.
Yeah,
people don't know how to act. They see you living in a certain way, and they want that life, and it's tough.
Yeah, well, they're all right as long as they see you on this same trajectory that they're on. But let you start ascending up northern a little bit higher than them, then it's going to be a problem. It's like, wait a minute, don't you want to be happy for the people that you care about, that you say are your friends? That's fleeting. You know, I mean, success is it creates enemies too. You know, it's like if you really want something, be prepared for when the adversity comes. When you attain that goal, you're going to probably isolate yourself from people that you're dealing with that you call your friends right now, because they won't be able to receive you if they're not on that same trajectory or trying to do something on a larger scale. Most people are just paying the bills every month.
Right.
And that's existing. That's not living. Like,
right.
I think we were told this false narrative in school. Go to school, get your education, get a good job. Basically, go to school, get your degree, and go work for somebody.
Right.
Now, if you're an entrepreneur, they look down on you. It's like, oh, so I don't work?
Yeah,
so entrepreneurs don't work, but 9 to 5 is a real job.
Yeah.
So what am I doing?
An entrepreneur is 24/7 job.
Absolutely.
I mean, the production company you started, I mean, there's a gamble behind that.
Right.
Right. There's no guarantee when you start your own company that it's going to all work out.
Right.
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 And I tell people that you can't hate on the dude that's successful in business. I'm like,
yeah,
hey, bravo.
Yeah.
Because the risk that he took is some of these dudes, I'm like, what? You quitting your job to start that business?
Yeah.
Like, yo, you don't have no benefits.
Right.
You got to pay for your own insurance. You renting that building over there?
Right.
Oh my God! You
Taking
know what I
a
mean?
leap of faith.
A leap of faith. It takes a lot to do that.
Yeah.
And your production company. Tell me a little bit about that.
So the production company, Schea Cotton Inc.
Oh, you just had to put the name on it.
Yeah.
See, now they're really hating on you, man. Shane
yeah.
Cotton.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is, I've kind of worked through two different companies that I created. Schea Cotton Inc. was, I think, created right around 5 years back. And that was like an end-all, be-all, just to handle all my day-to-day expenses and monthly stuff. And, I paid a lot of bills through that. The film started, signed my contract through that company. Didn't realize I was going to be a producer until I dove into the experience. Man, I don't know if you've ever done a film before, but It took everything I had. I mean, and my father was dying in the process. So I was suffering quietly.
It's the men. Dude.
Yeah. And I said, I'm going to do it. We're going to get it out, Pops. On his deathbed, I said, the film's going to get out.
Wow.
You won't die in vain. I mean, literally, he suffered for a year. Alzheimer's, dementia. He had a lot of inflammation in his body. And that's probably one of the worst diseases. You have to watch somebody deteriorate, and it's harder on the family than it is the person that's suffering. So there was a drive there. Now that it's out, knowing that he's not here in the physical, I'm at peace about it. It's something to that. When you stick to something, when you don't see no way out, and it's dark and you don't see the light and you just keep going. It's like God will open the door in an alley that's so dark, you don't even know where the light's coming from. He'll just bust open. Here. See, my good and faithful servant.
Yes, sir.
But I have to be attentive to my purpose, and that's helping kids, working, and being patiently waiting for him.
Yeah.
For him to open the door, because everybody I thought was going to open the door, they didn't. You talk about my peers giving interviews. They get on camera, get the interviews. Great. Come to the red carpet, do all of that. Put some money into my foundation to help the kids.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see. The guys in the film, if every one of them put $10,000 up towards my foundation to help kids, I can make a huge impact this coming year.
Right. I think people sometimes are a little skeptical on giving money, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe they've been burned in the past.
Right.
And you have a great track record. There's nothing to hide.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, this is what we're doing.
Right.
I'll show you.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people, when they start these organizations, it's like, oh, another organization. Mm-hmm. I think people started backwards, right? I'm going to start an organization up front, and then I'm going to do the work.
Right.
It seemed like you did the work, and then I'm going to start the organization. So I already, once again, that blue-collar attitude,
Yep.
I already did the groundwork here. I already did the foundation on my own. I need a little bit of help building the rest of the house here.
That's it. You get that paperwork in place in black and white for the ones that want to question it, their financial advisors or whatever. Hey, you show them that 1023. I got my articles of incorporation. What else you need to see? I got the bank account. You guys can check GuideStar. I'm in it. I do this. So, this isn't just Shea the athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I've had a lot of time away from the sport to learn what I'm good at. You know what I mean? So, and we have a great team around me that makes me look good, and we hold each other accountable. And I think there's something to that. It's not about, bragging. It's not about ego or arrogance. It's about doing good work and living a life of service, helping other people. Taking myself out of the equation. I've been done playing a long time ago. I'm here to help people.
That's good, man. When's the last time you picked up the rock, man? I mean, to real, not just to shoot around.
Probably about 6-7 years ago. Yeah, it's been a minute, but I work out. I stay active.
I mean, you look in shape, man. You can tell you're a hooper, man.
I try to take care of us. With COVID, you got to stay on point.
That's what I'm saying. I tell everybody all the time. I'm like, I'm in the gym, man. I'm 47, but I'm going to the gym. I want to stay healthy. I want to live, right?
That's right.
I want to live a long time. I want to make sure we work hard our whole lives, right? We work hard our whole lives. We get to 65, and then we retire, and the last 10 years is we're sick. Yeah. Or we're beat up, or we're in the hospital. I don't want to live that way. My friend, we call him Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike one time asked me, he's like, "Hey Dave, how long you want to live till?" I said, "Well, my grandfather, he still drives. He's 84.
That's good.
He still drives up and down in the valley.
Right.
Think she's a little gigolo. My grandpa. He's cool, man. Right, Grandpa Ralph be getting the ladies. But I said, well, like my grandpa, maybe like 80, 85. It'd be cool. That'd be a good life. And he goes, well, why only that age? What do you mean? He goes, why not 100? And I go, well, he goes, you know why you're saying 85? Because everybody gets to that age and is usually downhill the last few years. You get to like 70 and is downhill the last few years, and it's because we don't take care of ourselves. We're not watching what we're eating. We're not, all that discipline. Right. It takes discipline.
Absolutely.
I mean, trust me, man. I mean, we grew up in the neighborhood. It'd be great to go to Jim's Burgers rather than the gym.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, you're headed to the gym. Jim's Burger? Yeah. No, I'm going to head to the real gym. Right. You know what I mean? So, I want to live good, man. So we got to stay healthy, man.
For sure.
Definitely, man. Look, everybody out there, watch this documentary, man. We didn't give a lot of it away because I want my listeners to check it out.
For sure.
I knew of you, Schea, straight hooper. I appreciate you coming out here, taking the time to check it out.
Thank you.
Street Gospel Podcast. I wanted to ask you one last thing, though. Your faith, man. Where would Schea be without his faith?
Probably dead or in jail, to be honest, because I had a choice to make at one point when I was retiring to jump in the streets, that fast money. It was luring. I'm like, man, things ain't really adding up, and basketball it wasn't good to me like I was good to it, and I had an opportunity to jump in the lane and things was flowing, and I was like, nah, I wasn't raised like this. It's got to be a better way for me, and I chose not to, and I'm glad that I did because I don't think I'd be in this position right now, to be honest. So I thank God for that, and He's got His angels around me. I'm convinced. I got in a bad car accident about 7-8 months back, 8-9 bulging disc, and the doctor said I'd never be able to shoot the ball again. I wouldn't be able to do pull-ups and things like that. Proving him wrong too. So it's. When you got favor and there's anointing on your life, there's a responsibility there also, and I took that serious. I feel like He has me here for a reason, and I'm going to do some great things to help a lot of people before I die, and set the example to show kids that you don't have to make it to the league to be a success.
Yeah. I think that's huge, man. Recently, I'm in the gym, jiu-jitsu, doing my thing, and you only could be decent for so long. I realize injuries, how that goes, man. You're just like downhill. And I called my coach, Javi Vasquez, and I said, Coach, it's 47 now, man. It's not fun anymore.
Right.
and he told me, and I thought it parallels to what we're talking about here in your story, man. He told me, you know what, Dave? You still add value to the gym. I need you here. And I said, what do you mean, Coach? He's like, you're adding value to the gym more as a mentor now. Sharpen your skills, be able to teach guys, encourage guys, and that's where you're going to find the value. And it was weird, man, because I had to hear that, right?
Yeah.
I had to click. Like, I get that at church, at work. That's what I do.
Right.
But when it came to the gym and the physical aspect for us men is a whole nother thing for us, right? Exactly. When you got to realize, like, yeah, I ain't banging on dudes no more.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And so when he said that, I thought, man, like I was kind of like, even though I kind of helped a lot of the newer guys and stuff, I felt like, yeah, like I'm still valuable to the gym.
Right.
I still add something to the gym, and I thought about that when you were coming down, and said you were going to come. I was like, this dude is still adding value in what he's doing, and through hoop. You know what I mean? He's still being used. God's still using him to do something good in somebody's life to make an impact.
Absolutely.
So it's never over.
Nah, and this was a blessing. I mean, you reaching out said a lot. Like, that takes confidence and courage, for somebody to reach out, not knowing what lies on the other end. I mean, I could have been like, oh, nah, following this or that. I don't care about none of that. I said to myself, anybody that's willing to reach out to me to come on their show and talk about the doc and my life experiences to help people, I'm all for it, because there was never ego to begin.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
Yeah,
man.
It was all competitiveness. I wanted to be the best, in my generation, and I wanted to play in the league and go down as one of the best ever. Well, I think I conquered some of that mission as far as in my city, which, breeds a ton of talent these days. Them speaking on my behalf is them basically saying, you know what, you was that dude. Whether they say it to my face, just coming on the dock doing what they did is a mouthful, and I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that stamp of approval from those dudes. Not that you needed it. You already had it. Yeah. The Lord's stamp of approval was already on your life. You already knew you were content. But, it's always good to hear something from your peers.
Absolutely.
Ron Artest.
Yeah.
Jason Hart, Pierce, Randy Moss, you played against, Elo,
Yep.
Baron Davis.
Yep.
All these dudes, Earl Watson, all these guys that, you knew.
Yeah.
And that you played against. That was the stamp. There's a consolation prize in that, to get the respect of your peers, man.
Yeah.
From any aspect, from any profession.
Yeah. But you know what I get more excited about is thinking about the next generation, these kids that I'm going to help mentor and mold in the next 10 or 15 years, and how our city is going to look and feel then, with the success stories and things like that. Just LA County as a whole, and then take it further. I'm working on something, like I said, it could go nationwide real fast, so stay tuned.
I love your heart, man.
Thank you.
I love your heart, because it would be easy to sit back on your laurels and just not do the work.
Right.
And a lot of people don't want to do the work. The work's not easy.
Right.
It's not always rewarding. I'm sure you have some success where are some stories where, that kid just didn't work out.
Right.
That's the heartbreaking part of
it. Oh, it happens. I had a kid set up, no names, for a great prep school in Connecticut. Scholarship paid for 2 years. Was a Long Beach Poly kid. Went to the last day, made a bad mistake, and he regretted it, and several years later came back and apologized to me, said, Coach, I made a mistake. I didn't realize what was at stake, and, you put everything on the line for me, and I failed. I said, but, I respect you for admitting to that. Now it's about, what are you doing with this next phase in your life?
Right.
Learn that lesson and don't repeat it moving forward. I want the best for you. I don't want nothing from you, which is very seldom seen and heard these days.
Yeah.
Usually somebody does something with a handout. There's a string attached.
Sure.
I don't operate like that. The kids can't give me what I'm pouring into them back. They can't pay me for what I'm giving them. It's about legacy, and truly living service.
Because that's the trip, right? We're kind of built that way.
Yeah.
I'll give you something if you give me something back. There's got to be some return.
Right.
But when you're just giving, not expecting anything back, there's always a return.
That's when God really can use you too, because
right?
He's like, wow, you're not caring about the return? Okay, so you're focusing on the work.
Yeah.
Now I can really use you. And then He starts bringing pieces, unforeseen pieces, people you don't even know. Just make the crooked road straight. And I said to myself, it's working. The more I do for others, the more doors open.
Yeah.
And that's how we change the narrative. You hit it on the head. If all our guys in the NBA donated back to the cities that they play in, how you think that demographic could change? That's something to really think about.
I say that all the time, man, especially in LA. Like, I know the whole civil unrest in 2020 was just wild, politically, whatever. But I was like, a lot of the sports athletes were speaking out about that, right?
Yeah.
And I told one of my buddies, I go, how many dudes are on the Lakers? And how many millions of dollars are just on that team? 15 dudes plus the organization. Clippers, Dodgers, Kings. You can do the new Chargers and the Rams. That's a lot of dudes,
right?
With some decent funds, and that could really, instead of just, hey, I want to protest, but really putting the money and the resources where it needs to be, not in, hey, we're going to protest, we'll get a jersey, we'll put something on the back, but really taking that attitude and go, let's get a neighborhood.
Right.
Let's get these 5 square blocks right here, and every kid that lives in this neighborhood, we're going to make an impact on their life.
That's right. And it's an easy thing. You call up your sneaker sponsor, Under Armour, Nike, Adidas. Boom, I want you guys to lace these 400 kids, size them up, shoes, sweatsuits, T-shirts, everything. They got to get rid of it anyway. you talk about branding.
Yeah.
If somebody was smart, they would really be looking at that. But don't worry, help is on the way. You know, like I said, we working on something sweet. So
all right. I'm going to be looking for that, Schea.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you coming out, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, taking the time out, definitely a solid dude. You know what I mean? We do one thing on the podcast, though, man, and it's a little fun. Okay. I know we got serious. We had a few laughs, talked a few memories for you, but there's one last thing me and Camo like to do, and it's called the Furious Five.
Okay.
And we get into like 5 questions, fun questions. I mean, nothing too crazy.
Okay.
But we like to ask 5 furious questions. Yeah, I'm pulling it up on my phone, everybody. So give me a second. There it is.
Can I tag? Can I give a shout out to where they got to go to get the doc?
Oh yeah, I'll give you a little. I'll give you a little.
Okay.
A little outro after the Furious 5 here.
Oh, good.
All right, Schea Cotton, everybody. Manchild, Hooper. I mean, just Google him. Okay, you're gonna see what's up. Furious 5 with Schea. Question number 1. If you had to wear one particular shoe for the rest of your life, only one you could wear, what shoe would it be?
Jordan 5.
Black or white?
Both.
Hey, the Jordan 5s were nice.
Yeah, comfortable.
Reflector tongue.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I had both when I was young, when they came out.
Yeah, that makes me too.
I mean, they look dope with everything.
They do. Clothes, you could gear it up if you want to go out with it or hoop in it. You know?
Right?
Yeah.
My boy's a big sneakerhead, and so he hit me up. You got those 5s yet? And I go, I'm working on it, man. You know what I mean? I'm not that sneakerhead like I used to be when I was younger, but I had them.
That's right.
5. That's a good choice. Your favorite fast food spot? Question number 2. Fast food.
Well, it used to be Quick and Split. They got rid of them. You remember?
Quick and Split. I forgot
homemade,
about those.
Homemade ice cream. Okay. The cheeseburger was a die for. They made the turkey burger too. So they got rid of it. Me and my brother used to drive from Long Beach to Inglewood, get off on Manchester, make that quick left right there on the corner behind Randy's Donuts.
Right there.
Right past the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got rid of it. So no more. I don't know if they have the one on Western, but yeah, because I love the homemade ice cream. I mean, I couldn't have enough of it. And then the fries was always seasoned.
Oh, seasoned fries.
Yeah, and the burger was like homemade.
Quick and Split.
Yeah.
Well, Schea, maybe the doc would do really well, and you can open up your own Quick.
That's right. That's right.
Question number 3 on the Street Gospel Podcast, Furious 5. If you can see anyone in concert, dead or alive, who would it be?
Man, that's big. Anyone in concert, dead or alive, who would it be? I like to see Biggie.
Biggie.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I saw Biggie.
Nice.
Summer Jam. Back in the day.
Nice.
Irvine Meadows. He wasn't that big back then. He was big in physical, but he wasn't that big overall star. But I saw him. I love teasing the kids about that. I saw Biggie. Didn't see Pac. Didn't see Easy, but I saw Biggie, which was nice. It'd be a great show.
Absolutely. You got hits, the delivery, the track. I mean, everything just matched up. The hunger. You know, and I had love for Pac too, but it was something about Big. It was a delivery.
Yeah.
It just really resonated with me. Like, you could feel that hunger coming through the mic.
Right.
You know?
Good choice, man. Question number 4 on the Street Gospel Podcast. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
My intuition.
Intuition.
Yeah.
You that's good. Some discernment, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
It's a good superpower.
Absolutely.
I would say, yeah.
It could save you a lot of heartache and pain, you know?
A lot of times, intuition, discernment,
Yep.
a lot of that's your gut.
Yep.
And usually if you listen to your gut, you're good, right?
Right.
It's when we don't listen to our gut, that's when it's all bad. Like, I knew it. I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Something was telling me inside. Yeah, you should have listened to your gut.
Right.
You know, God, the angel on your shoulder, whatever you want to call it. But all right, that's good. Question number 5, loaded question right here. Furious 5. I'll turn off the music for this one. Is ball life?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Everything about basketball, I think, represents life. Teamwork, sacrifice, discipline, commitment, desire. It's all there. Courage, self-confidence. You have to have all those intangibles in life, and you put it together, it's usually going to be a success story, sport or not.
Nice. One point my that I said, and my friend Kelly on episode number 30, he said, there's one thing about basketball that separates it from any other sport. You can go outside and shoot by yourself all day. Mm-hmm. Every other sport, you need somebody else.
Right.
Play catch, right? Mm-hmm. But basketball, it's really on you.
Yeah, for sure. Every night, too. Every play.
Right.
I tell people that your true character comes out. If somebody can handle, you can see it. If they can't, you see that, too. And all the other intangibles. And it's stepping up to the line, making those free throws consistently by yourself, hitting that shot in the corner from that reversal while you're by yourself. And, a guy that has a separation, here's an ISO play, making a play with the floor spread, with everybody watching, is much harder than people think.
Nice. Nice. I love it, man. Hey, Schea, thanks for coming out, man.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you, man. Is there anything you want to shout out, man, before we, what can people find?
We could go see the Manchild doc right now. You guys can go to my IG handle at Schea Cotton, SCHEACOTTON, Facebook and Instagram, as well as Twitter. And you can go to my website, therealmanchild.com. You can purchase it or rent it there as well. Go get it now. Not right now, but now.
Everybody out there, man, follow Schea Cotton. Solid dude. Definitely, he's put his money where his mouth is. I mean, he's doing the hard work that a lot of people don't want to do. And I appreciate you, man, coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Great show. Yo, that'll wrap up episode number 31 of the Street Gospel Podcast with Schea Cotton. Make sure you check out Manchild. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Follow Schea. It's all good, man. We love you. We out.